Hey all, it's Lane, Purple Monkey Media. I suck at this. I'm not a good journalist. I'm not a good YouTuber or podcaster. I'm just an average guy. Born and raised in the country on a small horse ranch. Conservative family, Christian family, who grew up with some morals and values. I believe in God and the Lord Jesus Christ. I believe in our nation's flag. I believe in the freedoms that our forefathers gave us in this country. I believe in our history and the history, or the idols of our history, or the statues, the monuments. These are important parts of our culture, an important part of our belief system, an important part of our history. And it's a shame that these things have come under attack. Our nation's flag, statues and monuments, people in general, no matter your race or color, creed, religious beliefs, we've all are under attack. I know conservative black people who are being called coons and Uncle Toms. I know white people that are being called racist because they simply believe in the flag. They simply believe in the statues, and it's sad. It's sad to see what's happening in our society today. Have people forgotten that we've all come from the same Father, the Lord Jesus Christ, God? Have we all forgotten that? No matter what you do, no matter what this is on the outside, on the inside is red. Anytime I cut myself, anytime one of these guys out here, and I'll get to that later, cut themselves. Whoops. Anytime one of those guys cut themselves, anytime an African American person or a Hispanic American person or Hispanic period, they don't even have to be Hispanic American. Anybody of the human race that gets cut bleed red. And I'm pretty sure that we all put our pants on the same way every morning. So I don't understand the problem, other than it's pure hate. And hate is not the answer. Hate is going to destroy those of you that hate and those of us that don't. It's going to destroy everything. I'm going to go back a little bit to George Floyd's murder. And yes, it was murder. The man died senselessly. But yet, he's been made a martyr. George Floyd was a criminal. He had spent 9 stints in prison. He was a violent man in his own community, let alone outside the community. And yet, during his funeral, he was given a folded American flag by Nancy Pelosi, a government official, in the same way they honor a fallen soldier, a fallen American soldier, or a fallen police officer, or a fallen firefighter. That blows my mind. That blows my mind. I've had brothers and sisters, cousins, friends, people that have served this country in one aspect or another: military, fire department, police officer. And they are good law-abiding citizens. And for a criminal, to be given a folded American flag in the same way that these men and women are honored is a disgrace to this country. I want to know where our leaders are. Where are our politicians? Where are our ministers and our reverends? I've not heard much from them. Now, ministers, reverends, priests, rabbis, and any other name they have for a holy man, you're supposed to be peaceful, and I get it. I understand. But we need you. We need answers. I have questioned myself. What's going on in the religious realm of what's happening here? And no, personally, I have not walked up to a minister and asked, and maybe I should, and maybe I will. But I haven't heard the voices of our religious leaders. Very little voices from our politicians. When did we get to the point that we honor criminals? When did we get to that point when we honor criminals? Rashad, I'm sorry, don't know the name, Rashad. Look at the video. The man was intoxicated. He was passed out in the drive-thru of Wendy's. Obviously, after the cops questioned him, or after he was questioned by employees from Wendy's, he moved his car. When police got there, they found him asleep. So apparently he had moved his car prior to the police getting there. And he was still, again, passed out, let's call it for what it is, in his car. Once the police were able to get him up out of the vehicle, they started to make their arrest, which was a justifiable arrest. He fought the police officers. So at that point, every person in America has a right to defend themselves, even police officers. So the officers had every right to defend themselves. At that point, to use reasonable force to protect themselves. He managed to get away from the police officers, and while doing so, he was able to get the police officer's taser out of its holster and took off running. The police officer was pursuing him on foot, and Rashad turned and fired that taser at that police officer. That taser, despite opinions, can be considered a deadly weapon. And let me explain why. If that taser would have struck that police officer, and the police officer went down, and he was able to get that police officer's service pistol, handgun, or gun, whatever you want to call it, and shot the police officer, that taser was a deadly weapon. So once Rashad turned and fired that taser, the police officer acted in an appropriate manner. He defended his life. Now, with that being said, I always thought police officers were trained not to shoot to kill. I could be wrong. That's just what I thought. Now, in the heat of the moment, I don't know how many of you shoot handguns, how many of you has been in the military or the police department or been trained in self-protection. But in a situation like that, I'm sure you don't take too much time to aim at a leg. I mean, you just do what you can. But the officer was justified. Now here's the problem. That officer has lost his job. And now I believe there's a homicide investigation. And his partner is on administrative leave. Can somebody tell me why? Because they did their job? That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. Just because the officers that killed George Floyd were bad seeds doesn't mean that any officer that's involved in a shooting is a bad seed. Those officers clearly were defending their life, or he was. There has been many cases of senseless killings. Not from blacks, not from whites, not from white cops, not from black cops, but everybody. I've seen the numbers. I'm not going to reiterate them because I don't see the point in it. But it's everybody. It's just not black. It's just not white. It's everybody. This is a problem that we have across the board from all races. And what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? We're going to protest in the streets. We're going to destroy our cities, destroy our communities, hurt and harm other people who you don't know. I mean, these protesters that's out there that's harming other people, and they don't know them. They don't know who they are, what they stand for. Is that going to solve your problem? What it's doing is making it worse. What it's doing is making this country worse. What it's doing is making this country fall apart. What it's doing is making this country more divided. What it's doing is going to cause something that no one wants to happen. It may cause a couple things. But the number one thing it's going to cause is that we're all going to lose our freedoms. All of us. And once we lose our freedoms, personally, you're going to have good old boys like me that's going to fight for them back. Because I live in a country born and raised, freedoms. Where I have the freedom to speak, to speak out against my government, to speak out against my own people. And when I mean my own people, I mean everybody in the United States. I have a right to say what I want to say, regardless if it hurts your feelings or not. There are people out there that say stuff that offends me. In fact, tearing down my monuments, my statues, tearing down my country's history, that's offensive. It's offensive to me. Wanting to burn my nation's flag, that's offensive to me. I'm offended. Wanting to take Jesus Christ, take God further out of our country than he already is by taking down his statues, the crosses. Going to be working on the Bible next, aren't we? No. Those are mine too. You don't have a right to say what happens to them. We all have a right. You have your opinion, and I have mine. And your opinion offends me by wanting to take those things from me. I have a little history for you. Some of my fondest memories were watching my grandfather as a little child every evening reading the Bible, rocking in his chair. That's history. It's memories. And you want to take that from me. Why? Why? This is upsetting. This hurts. This has got to stop. It's got to come to an end. You know, this hate ain't gonna work. Hate ain't getting nowhere. Hate is not getting nowhere. I don't know what happened. I have been angry. I have been frustrated, overwhelmed, and I have absolutely lost my mind over some of this. Because I'm in Ohio today, and I am in one of the beating hearts of Ohio, Dayton. I'm at a construction site. And here at this construction site, there are whites, blacks, Hispanics, Asians. I've seen Muslims. And they're all working together. All of them. They're all working together to build houses for other people. And I've not witnessed one cross word from anybody here. And I haven't been here just today. I've been here a total of 1 month now. I see people waving at each other, talking to each other. I see them coming and borrowing each other's tools because they have one goal in mind: to get these houses built, to make a little money. There's nothing wrong with making a little money. Don't want to be greedy. There's nothing wrong with making a little money. That's another thing this country was founded on. Enterprise. free enterprise. So yes, here at this job site, there are Amish people, whites, blacks, African Americans, oh I said that, sorry, whites, blacks, Amish people, Asians, Muslims, Hispanics, and they all get along. They all get along. So if they can do it here at a construction site where, let me tell you, if anybody knows something about construction workers, they're the manly men of men. Most of these guys don't have a problem to say what's on their mind. I don't want my children growing up in this. I don't, and you shouldn't either. If you're okay with your children growing up like this, there's a problem. People, I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care your beliefs. I just care about one thing. That we all coexist. We take care of one another. So if there's anybody out there that feels the same way, we need to start sticking together. I'm sure everybody's tired of protesting. But if you want to keep your statues, you want to keep your national or your nation's flag, the American flag, if you want to keep your freedoms, sorry about the background noise. If these are things that you want to keep, then why aren't we out there protesting? Why aren't we out there letting our voices be heard? We don't have to destroy communities, and we don't have to destroy buildings and hurt other people to get our point across. We can truly, honestly, peacefully protest. You can call your governor, your senator. Let them hear your voice. Let them know that you will not stand for the destruction of statues of historical heroes and figures, or founding fathers. And you will not stand for the burning of the American flag. And anyone caught burning the American flag should be prosecuted. There's ways for your voices to be heard. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone. Don't be afraid to organize a protest, because you as an American have a right to protest. Do it peacefully. You know, like I said, you don't have to be out there knocking things around, throwing rocks and stopping traffic and doing all that crazy stuff. Just do it peacefully. Because you, as an American, are a voter. And if these people want to keep their jobs, they'll hear the voices of the people. Because here's what we can do. As American citizens, we can vote people like my father, or people like my grandfathers, or like your grandfathers and your fathers, who are tough as cobs and know what it's like to work hard, know what it's like to go without, know what it's like to need and want, and can understand what the average American goes through. We can start putting those guys in office, which I personally think we should. I really think we should. These Midwest farmers out here working these fields, sun up to sundown. These cattlemen, hog farmers, fowl farmers, who spend their days raising these animals for food for us, who work hard. Those are the people that need to be in office. They're not rich, they're not famous, but they know how it's like to live. So if you know one of those guys, it's as simple as getting a piece of paper from your courthouse, start voting them in as mayor, city council, county council, representative, governor, senators. There'll be a huge difference when men like that are running this country. Well, leave your comments below, and I'm sure there'll be more of this, and hopefully I'll get better at doing it. If this is the first, probably won't be the last. Questions, comments, they're more than welcome. Opinions, and I will answer them, respond to them as honestly and as best as I can. God bless.